In this next segment, we're taking a look at a topic that is sure to resonate with many of us as parents: breaking generational cycles of parenting. It's about recognizing the patterns passed down through families and consciously choosing which ones to continue and which ones to leave behind. Joining me now is Aly Pain, our resident expert on the parent teen relationship, who will share her insights on how we can forge new paths in parenting distinct from those we may have experienced growing up. Welcome back to the show, Aly.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's been a while, and I'm excited to get into this topic. So, can you explain what generational cycles of parenting are and why it's important to be aware of them?
Yeah, so it's essentially how our brains are wired. So if you're listening to this because you're feeling frustrated and you're beating yourself up, I really want you to hear this. Your brain is wired to repeat what you know, and actually, more specifically, to repeat what you learned between the ages of 5 to 7, but at least before 8 years old. So a generational cycle is something where it can be very, very subtle and nuanced. It could be big and overt. They are patterns of both thinking, behavior, and therefore inclusive of feelings as well, reactions, responses that are woven into all of your relationships based on what you learned at home, what you learned in your familial environment, and are now showing up in your life in all of your relationships. But specifically, we're talking about now that you're a parent parenting teens. Some of those you might be super proud of and love, and some of them might drive you crazy when you catch your mother's mouth falling out of your words and going, "What?" And then you feel so frustrated because that was never what you wanted to do, or catching yourself doing a specific behavior that you don't want and don't like, but aren't sure why you keep doing it. It's because it's hardwired in your unconscious brain, not your conscious. So it doesn't have to do with intelligence.
You made me laugh when you said you hear your mother's words coming out of your mouth.
Yeah.
At my wedding, I remember saying in my speech to to my mother, I said, "Mother, sorry, mirror, mirror on the wall, I am my mother after all," because nobody was
Yes.
more shocked to find out that you end up like your parents. So why does it
Yes.
feel so hard to break
Mhm.
these cycles?
Because again, so this is all of these nuances are what your brain has structured as normal. And that's a big word. It's a whole scaffolding and also really finely nuanced way of being human that is hardwired into your unconscious brain. Because as you're learning all of these normal things, your executive function when you're young is not young enough, is not developed enough to filter out what is what works for you and what doesn't for your specific values and beliefs, because those don't develop until you're well into your teens or as a young adult. And by that time, your brain, like a sponge, has already absorbed all these things. So, part of the reason this feels really hard to change is because you make up a story that this is just about intention. I have good, loving intentions. I have good, loving intentions, and therefore I'm going to change. And to be fair, because your brain only knows this one construct, change to your brain means, well, I only know this thing. So you go to different, and different means a 180, because that's normal and natural when your brain doesn't have something else to hang on to. It goes, okay, well, not that. So I'm going to go all the way over here and do this. But you also know that doesn't work. And generally, parents come to me because it's all full authoritarian and control, which would be normal to have grown up in. That was parenting of the day. So they don't want that. They want more relational respect, not giving up authority or anything like that. But they don't want to, but they go all the way over to permissive parenting, being besties, because not because you're stupid, because your brain doesn't have something to anchor in on. So it goes different. Oh, that must be opposite. And that's where the problem ends up, is we do these back and forth and back and forth, trying to find what you wanted that is actually in the middle. And in the meantime, exhausting yourself, lowering your self-confidence, you feel defeated, hopeless, frustrated, and powerless to actually make the change that you have all these good intentions to do. But now you're running on willpower and fear, because no matter what you do to try and reach your teen, to support them in their struggles or teach them basic responsibility or just get them to care about anything, you're exhausted and nothing's really changing.
And your teens are probably confused too. So
Very
what are the
confused.
what are the first steps that a parent can take to start the process of changing or breaking free of these generational parenting hang-ups, I suppose?
Right. So the key to know is that good intention is not enough. And I don't mean that as a cut. Good intention will not create the impact you want because your brain does not have miraculously the structure to just know what to do. So here's my 6 stage process that is a non-negotiable to actually creating tangible, lasting change without the whiplash effect where you have to keep going back. Okay. Number 1, plunge. You must have daily immersion, 15 minutes a day. Okay. 15 minutes a day that matches your specific learning style, audio, reading, video, within a proven system that is like a journey. It takes you through a process that aligns and builds over time. Okay. So, like random content from books and social media and all of this stuff that it's just going to create confusion for you and your teen, because none of it, and some of it even counteracts itself. So that's confusing. Step number 2 is processing. You have to have a safe environment to ask questions with expert guidance because you've got to be able to deepen your understanding, uncover all those old patterns, which we half the time don't know until they show up, and then shift beliefs to shift your perspective. And also writing, journaling is a huge part of that process because otherwise you're just bouncing ideas around in your head and you're the only one there. And learning in isolation is not powerful. We know that. Then you need practice. You've got to have a safe and engaging place to consistently try new tools to build your skills with consistency and confidence and guidance, because without that daily practice and accountability, your intention, again, it's falling flat. And I know how desperately you want this, but like throwing stuff against the wall, it to see what sticks, it just confuses your teen. You get less of what you want, and then you have no support to how to like adjust specifically to your situation and try again. So once you get plunge, processing, and practice down, then you go to the next 3 steps, which are also not negotiable, but are really linear. You must be able to change your awareness, and this takes time. It's moving from knowing different after the fact to thinking different in real time, and that takes consistency. It is not negotiable. It is like a bucket that must fill and overflow before you get to move to the next step. And parents stop there because they beat themselves up because they know different, so they just should have known better, and then they walk away thinking it must be them. Not true. That takes time. Then you got to move to action. Like now you're taking your awareness of when the opportunity is to change, and you got to put it with what, like a proven tools, so you do different. And again, you've got to have those first 3. You've got to have support, and it takes time. Now you've got awareness is full. Then your action bucket has to fill right up, but people quit here because parents say, well, no, I'm already thinking different and doing different, and my teen still isn't responding. So this is stupid and obviously doesn't work. And so you walk away. And this breaks my heart because good, incredible parents are wanting desperately to make this change, but they quit right before the last step, which is adapt. It's taken all of that until your teen actually adapts their emotions and behaviors to begin changing to your new approach that you've developed through all of these steps with consistency, so they trust it's not just a ruse to control or trap them. And you're still likely to stop there because you get a few quick wins and then think, great, I'm done. But you don't have what you need to continue to personalize tools for your situation, because your team will continue to push because they will just want to find the weak spots. So that's my 6-step process that's absolutely not negotiable for breaking the cycle, to take your amazing intentions and get the impact where you're trying to skip from step 1 to step 6.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And it's important, I think, to remember too, you're an adult going through
Right.
this journey. Your child is your
Yes.
teenager is
Yes.
not on this journey with you. They're still
Nope.
going through all of their things, and it is in their nature to rebel and to push back because they're
Yes.
growing and changing.
Yeah.
So they
Right.
They are going to change so many times over the years. And yeah,
Yeah.
like you said, you have to adapt to what they're doing, not the other way
Mhm.
around.
Right. Right. So
See,
generational
I'm
cycle
listening.
breaking
I'm listening,
is
Aly. I
I
hear you.
really want parents to understand this is possible, but intention alone will not get you there.
Oh, I hear you. I listen. My kids are now past the teen years, and anybody who is going through it, I feel for them so
Yes.
badly. So I
Yes.
want people to be able to connect with you because I know personally you helped me through some really, really hard times, and so I would like people to be able to connect with you. Where can they do that?
Best place is at Aly Pain on Instagram or TikTok. That's ALYPAIN, or my website, alypain.com.
All right, Aly, thank you so much for joining me today. It's always a delight. My cheeks hurt from smiling because I know that this works. I know it works. So,
Thank you
so I
so
encourage
much.
people to connect with you. Thanks, Aly.
Thank you.